We'll be in the other classes. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. Y'all are gonna get a lot more in-depth training. This is just to teach these guys how to respond to the incidences that happen in an electric vehicle. Well, good morning. As Jay said, my name's Vincent Webb. I work for Proterra. I'm one of the field service representatives. I've been with the company about going on 9 years now, so pretty much as soon as we started, I've been working there. Real quick, on behalf of Proterra and myself, thank you guys for all that y'all do. I'm actually really amazed the fact that I've done 6 startups with 6 different cities, and y'all are the first ones that actually come to us for the training instead of us having to reach out for you. So that's very impressive. Welcome to the Proterra electric bus. This bus has, well, from a show of hands, how many people have ever dealt with an accident involving an electric vehicle? How many people have ever dealt with an accident involving a bus? Alright, so today what we're going to do is we're going to go over how to access this bus from the outside, just in case like the driver's incapacitated or something and you have to open the doors. We're going to show you how to safely shut it down in the event of, just a minor incident. And then we'll go over some larger scenarios, the worst case scenarios type deals, and what for you guys, since y'all are going to be the ones first on the scene, how to respond to that and be safe about it. So this class should last anywhere between an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, depends on how many questions y'all have, and I'll give you all the information I can give. Anyway, the Proterra bus itself runs off of approximately about 380 volts of electricity. At full charge, it can be upwards of about 388. So it's not by NFPA standards, we're not actual high voltage. Of course, that's over 1,000 volts, but it's still enough to tickle, and not in a good way. So what we're going to do today, well, first off, while we're inside the vehicle, we're just going to go over all the emergency exits. So as you notice, some of these windows along this side of the bus and along this side of the bus have the escape hatch or escape handle. And now you're on call. These are for people to get out. You have 2 escape hatches up top in case the bus rolls over. And then of course the doors, each one has a door release valve. The breakaway, it's a plastic breakaway. You just punch it and turn the valve. And then the doors, you can manually push them out. So those are the 3 ways to actually, in an emergency, get out of the vehicle. So for you guys, you'll be on the outside trying to get in. I try to tell everybody, I don't care. If there's something wrong with the bus and you can't get in, break the window. There's a big door right there. I can replace that. We also talk about cutting into the vehicle, which is the last ditch effort. That's what that sheet is for. If you look on the sheet, everything in orange is going to show you where it's located. So the floor you're standing on now has high voltage batteries up underneath them. This overhead rail, inside and behind these door panels, you have 2 sets of high voltage cabling. One is DC, one is 3-phase AC for the some components we have up front. And of course, they come down right down the seat cap and they run around the front of the dash. So if you do have to cut in, just monitor that. We have high voltage on the roof, high voltage on the floor, high voltage in the rear, and then along this side of the bus. So if you ever get when you're cutting tools out and you want to cut a hole on a bus, let's hope that never happens. Even though I've seen a bus flip over with a Dodge Charger at 90 miles an hour. It wasn't one of ours, thank God, but I've been around long enough, I've seen a good chunk, especially in the transit agency. Do y'all have any questions about any of the access points? pretty standard. I mean, you know, we meet FMVSS standards, so we're just like any other bus when it comes to how it's built, so to speak. The only thing you have to worry about is the electric side of it. So if the bus is on, there's potential for high voltage at any of these points. And when we shut the bus off, we have contactors and relays, or big high voltage relays that actually restrict that voltage and it keeps it to the high voltage batteries, the ones you're standing on. Any questions?
What's your weight? Like, what's this whole dude weigh?
About 40,000 pounds. So we're comparable to any of these other buses on weight. It is a full composite body. So there's no metal frame underneath the floor. You're standing on 100% fiberglass. And the technology in this body is from the 70s boat industry. So, I mean, it's a little bit of carbon fiber laminate with balsa wood interior for thickness and structure. But other than that, the whole strength comes out of just bilateral fiberglass.
So you're saying with the bus off, power turned off, the danger is basically batteries on.
Batteries on.
Everything else should be, if you had to cut.
Everything else should be. Like I said, there's always an instance. Let's put it this way: the batteries themselves hold all the energy. They give that energy to that big white box you saw as y'all walked up. That's in the very back of the bus, and then from there it branches out to all the components that utilize it.
So it could.
Yes. So in the event of a rear end collision, I've seen like a Jeep Cherokee hit the side of this bus at 35 miles an hour, and only thing it did was scratch the panel. Now the Jeep Cherokee didn't favor too well, but fiberglass composites are really strong. I mean, they're even stronger than steel when it comes to those type of collisions, because it spreads the energy across it. So if you look in your little gray box on there, on this side, here, shoot. These are the important notes to note. Do not use an ABC fire extinguisher. It will not put this battery out. Each battery pack, there's 4 of them in the bus, as you can see in the big orange things. Each one of them holds 110 kilowatts of energy, or 110 kilowatt hours. So the incident energy in these packs is more than what a 480 transformer has coming off of it. Just know that. So when you, if in the event, and let's hope there never is one, there's a thermal event, because y'all are the thermal event department. Use water, lots of it. Make sure you secure the scene. You want to create a perimeter with, what is it, 20 or 30, 20-foot radius. You want to create a perimeter and just hose it down. It could take up to 24 hours before all the energy out of one battery pack is dispelled. So you could be pretty much just keep the fire out. And then I know you guys, y'all pretty, just about everybody now has thermal cameras. It's pretty cheap now. Y'all have those. So you want to use that before you approach. And you might be there to help their maintenance staff, because I know they're not going to have one, to approach one in the case of a fire. Use thermal imaging to make sure all the hot spots are gone. And then from then on out, it's just pretty much y'all facilitating a secure area while either somebody from my company shows up that's highly trained on these buses, somebody from them that are going to be deeper trained in the actual functions of the electricity flow through the bus, to come in and really secure it and lock it out and verify the energy. I know here y'all have a lot of trains. That's the biggest scare I've ever had, is what happens if our bus ever got hit by a train. What are we going to do? Hasn't happened yet. Like I said, we've had some accidents, but we've come out pretty good. Isolation on this bus, we're we're fairly safe. So I mean, like right now the bus is on, it's running, we can drive around right now. The only thing you're hearing is the HVAC running. and some small fans. Electricity is that energy you can't see, can't hear, can't taste, can't smell. It's completely silent. I know all you guys know that. Y'all handle houses, industrial, electricity and stuff like that. You handle things that are, what's the easiest way to say it? You handle things that have about the same amount of energy, like especially with 480. It's a higher voltage, but we just have the ability to output more current in a single incident. That's what that incident energy comes through. Our battery packs have the ability to push out close to 1,000 amps at any given moment. Same way with that charger that's down there. It pumps out at 1,000 amps. So, y'all have any questions? Come on, y'all gonna make this longer.
Will you hit that charging form? I know Captain Coran's at Engine 4, so they respond to Depot, and we got some guys from 11 that come here, so that's how you charge the bus and all.
Yeah, so the charger, it's a 500, out there at the fast charger at the depot, that is a 500 kilowatt charger. So its max output is roughly around 500 volts at 1,000 amps. Here, these are 60 kilowatt chargers. So each one of these, I mean, they still run off of 480 grid voltage. And then what we put out is a DC current, roughly around 200 amps at around the same voltage at max. So these actually have the ability to pump out up to 800 volts. We just haven't gotten to that point yet.
So if there's an issue with those chargers out there, I know it's got the little shut off on the side. It's as simple as hit the shut off.
Hit the emergency power switch. Make sure there's no open fire anywhere, nothing sparking, nothing like that, and then call maintenance, call us.
And if there is fire still,
Same way. Once you hit that, you're gonna try to find the grid power disconnect, which is that one fuse panel right there on the wall. You can turn it off. If the problem's there, you're gonna get the power company out. I mean, once it goes through that breaker, it's ours. But up to that breaker, it's the power company's. And they're gonna have the people that are trained to handle that side of things. Now, any other securements of the bus, anything you have to do in case of emergency, you're gonna do on what you normally train to do. You know, get people off the bus safely. They're number one, and then the scene is number two. Just be safe in what you do. The idea here is to inform you what this bus is capable of, where the high voltage is. We're going to go to the back and look. We're going to go in and open this bus up from the outside. I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you how to turn the bus off. Back here is as simple as how you turn it off. Make sure the parking brake's set. There's a switch up here on the dash. You're going to turn to the off position. And then there's a battery disconnect at the curbside back corner here. And then all you're going to do is flip it off. It's a little 3-step process. Getting into the bus is a little different. We have a button on the front headlight out here. You're going to press and hold the button. Like I said, if the driver's incapacitated, you can't open the door for you. Then what you're going to do is press and hold that button. It's going to automatically open the door. And even if the bus is off up here, it will automatically turn the bus back on to a low voltage state. In other words, the high voltage isn't. We have two states. You have low voltage on, and then we have high voltage ready. That means high voltage is all the contactors are closed, and now you have high voltage power running through the bus. They're not always on. They're only on when commanded. So if say for instance up here at my power steering pump, the bus is on, but we have potential for energy up here, but if it's not running, you have no current flow. Simple electricity. Same way with a defroster. The high voltage is there, it's ready. It's just, if it's not running, you have no current.
Question. Driver's incapacitated. He was driving, he was in drive. I'm not familiar with it. And he's up against a pole or a car or a vehicle. Will that button activate that door if this thing's in drive?
Yes, sir.
It will.
as long as the vehicle is not moving, you can open that door from that way. If not, break it. I can replace the door. I don't care how you get in. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, all these parts are replaceable. People are not. So, I mean, you know, we try to teach you how to open the door, but in the event you can't, do what you got to do. You know. I haven't looked at the new one. This is a new page for us. If you notice, there is high voltage wires going to the back. That's where that charger hooks up. It's on the top of the bus. It's open bus bars. In other words, they're open. They're out and open. They're free and everything. They are only live when you're hooked up to that charger. Otherwise, we have contactors that shut power off up there. So as of right now, I could.
Not that you would.
Not that I. Well, have you ever heard of the term test before you touch? As of right now, with the bus on, I have been on top of a vehicle with the bus running, and I take a meter up there, check for voltage on the side of the blade. Then after that, I can touch it with my hands because it's not gonna. Nothing's gonna mess up to make the bus turn. Now, normally that's not a practice that we do, but there has been times where we've been doing testing where I had to, but that's in a controlled environment. We also have forms of lockout, tagout that we train. Y'all don't have to worry about any of that. Like I said, again, y'all are here to secure the scene and to keep everybody around safe. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. We're gonna go outside now. Please eat all these donuts. I do not want to eat them all the way home today. I'll give them to the mechanics. They'll tear them up. But we're gonna go outside and we're gonna do a walk around of the bus. I'm gonna show you the different. There's a way to open the door and release the door valve in the event that front is not working for whatever reason. Even if it's a front end collision. Might have messed that switch up. There's a way to reach through the driver window and actually release the door. You want to come out here?